A lot of people really don't think there's much money to be made working in HVAC, and that the only place that six-figure salaries exist is in the white-collar world. I want to take you through the process of what my salaries looked like from the time I started all the way up until today on where I'm currently at, going on 13 years in the industry. I also want to provide commentary on what I see as a manager hiring in the industry right now. Now, before I get into my six-figure journey, let's talk about Preppy, our sponsor.
Do you want to work in HVAC systems? Whether you're thinking about getting in the trade or whether you're thinking about improving your education, then one of my friends, Grant, has an option for you I think you should hear out. He will take you through the process on how to become an HVAC technician or improve your education with a step-by-step process that could get you as little as 4 months if you stay really dedicated. He's going to take you through how to start your career and advance faster. He's going to discuss how to get the right training and build a really strong resume. And he's going to reveal how you can get a university certificate to be an HVAC technician through this process. So if you'd like to get started in the trade, you can access the video at becomehvactech.com.
So my very first year in this industry, I started off as an apprentice. It was just a job that made more than what I was currently doing, stocking shelves at a grocery store. And that was at $8 an hour, which I know is crazy. Just follow along the journey here. About 6 months in, I did make it to $10 an hour. And over the course of that first year, I was able to make right at about or just under about $20,000 for the year in total. My second year in this industry, I started working as just a residential service tech and install guy. I was doing 13 bucks an hour, and I made right about 40 grand for that year, which if you do the math, that's a lot of overtime. I made a lot of overtime that year, and it was a pretty rough job. And so I did transition out of that after right about a year because of this strain. So then I entered into the industry lull that happens. From 3 years to 5 years, I was making 12 bucks an hour. And I was doing really good to make, 20 to 30 grand a year. I think my true average was about 28 to 30 between those 3 years. But in this time frame, so I transitioned at the beginning of the third year into light commercial and getting into low temp refrigeration, things of that nature, developing those skills. And as I went into my fifth year, that's when I got into heavy commercial and I started getting exposure to VRF equipment and centrifugals and high-end facilities. And it was really putting a lot of work and effort into that couple of years span that opened opportunities to step into much higher work going into my sixth year. So my sixth and seventh year in the industry, I really committed to the heavy side, doing critical facilities. And in that market, I was able to do between 32 and 35 an hour. I was also moonlighting with a residential company I was trying to help develop for 20 bucks an hour. And I was also teaching at night classes, just kind of more of a passion project than anything, as this channel tends to be. Overall, my sixth and seventh years, I was able to bring home between 60 to 70K over that 2-year span. And that 100K mark came at my 8th year in. I took on a role at a company making 42 an hour. Now I can't talk too much about that salary up till this point now, other than I have maintained a 6-figure salary ever since then. Now that includes overtime, that includes some other work. If you do the math on 42 an hour, even at my 8th year in, it's not a full 100 grand out the door. But it is just a given that in this industry, you're not going to get away with just a flat 40. This industry requires a lot of overtime from us. It's a very demanding trade. But something else that I did at that 8-year mark was I niched down into chillers and VRF. Those are the two things that I'd really been spending many years working on, learning, teaching myself, working with others that I could, going to classes. I put a lot of energy into getting to that point. Now I still work on a lot of different equipment. I still do things with regular splits and RTUs. Those things don't go away, nor should they. I really don't think that you should lose those kind of skills, but the main things of where my value comes in for the company I'm with lives inside of that chiller side and that VRF side. Now my salary has continued to scale from there just based on the fact of getting into management. And there's different levels to management too. There are a lot of companies that the supervisors and managers will actually make less or equivalent to some of the technicians, and it depends on the company and what the incentives are. So bear that in mind. Just because you see a supervisor or you see an opportunity for one does not mean that you're actually going to make more money in that side of the world versus just being a technician. One great thing about it is you don't have to turn as many wrenches, you're not breaking your body as much, but then your mind becomes the next mental struggle. But that is the brief synopsis of just a step-by-step what my career looked like as I stepped through the different progressions, starting off with just an apprentice doing some residential stuff, learning all kinds of stuff I shouldn't have been, then eventually moving into more and more. Something I didn't mention in that process is at my third year in, I got into school, went and did a 2-year degree. So between year 3 and 5, what was also happening in the background was I was getting my associate's degree through a trades program, which it was pursuing those opportunities that actually opened the door to the heavy commercial opportunities, things that I wasn't getting looked at before stepping out there and going to the next level of education. As a hiring manager today, I know the wage market has dramatically changed in the industry. Where I got hired on at $8 an hour as an apprentice doing residential work, today I'm hiring apprentices straight out of school with no experience for $20 an hour, and that's considered normal. It's not hard as an apprentice with no experience to go get a job at any shop for roughly $20 an hour. Now, you may have some installer type roles and things that you see offering maybe 15 to 18, but vast majority of people I talk to and I look at and just observing the market as a manager, that's the common place that I see. Now, keep in mind with that, as the starting rates have scaled, I've also seen where the technician rates have significantly scaled as well. And that's the other thing you should keep in mind when considering a trade like this. There is opportunity out the wazoo right now because much of our skilled trades people, they've all retired. There's a huge skill gap between, there's only a few of us like myself that started in a few decades worth of time, and there's a lot of people trying to get into the trade now. We're seeing a lot of people starting to value this, get into school and get engaged. So I would encourage you, if you're going to do this, do it sooner than later. You'll get in on this initial wave, you'll have a lot more opportunity, and there's all kinds of places where you can choose niches and really learn. There's a lot more in this industry now that I see than I think there used to be, because of the way that I've seen technology develop between what we have today versus what used to be on the market. Granted, a lot of things have also gone away, so there is a bit of a trade-off there. Either way, it's a good choice. It's a great place for you to grow and develop and make a better life for yourself, your family, and all those around you. Thank you to Preppy for supporting this channel and sponsoring this video. I really like the setup they have and their online abilities to do what they're doing, and integrating the VR side of things with Interplay. It's a pretty neat little system, especially to be able to do it online at your own pace. I would encourage you to go check out my tech guides. It's a building library that we're currently developing. I've got a couple of DDC guides in there now. I've also got some centrifugal chiller tech sheets, which are basically like a quick reference sheet. If those are any use to you, please go check it out. That's at hvactime.shop. And for those of you who are looking to purchase, I am currently doing a giveaway. So I had a few tools sent to me this year for review. I had some extra samples sent as well. The closing date to be considered eligible for that is going to be December 31st. So you want to hurry up and get in on that so that you can see if you get those products. There's going to be a flashlight and a couple of multi-tools. With that, MTT, take the time for your family, make the time for your spouse, your kids, really spend it with them. We're out on a trip right now doing a workcation, if you will, so that's why the background, everything's a little different. Kids are doing their thing in the background. Either way, spend it with them, figure it out, make the time. It's not easy, technicians, it is a tough life, but we can do this. We'll see you guys.